Heartland. The king himself awaits your pleasure, and from what I hear, he is not very happy. It seems he was a little distressed on hearing of your handling of his sons, and has sworn to exact a terrible revenge on you. This is the final battle. King Reginald is a mighty foe, protected by the finest warriors in all Harmonia. To defeat him is a formidable task. You will need your wits about you, and the mightiest force of evil ever assembled. Dethrone this once proud king, and claim his throne for yourself. Let the land above beware. Darkness comes, and with it all the horrors of the night. Slaughter King Reginald and his men. Claim the last portal gem. Your greatest victory awaits. Good luck, Keeper.
Your evil reign ends here, Keeper.
Your evil quest has brought you far, for now the doorway to the outside world awaits. But mark, the king's defense will be relentless. Make your way inside his keep, to crush him on his own home ground.
Hello Dungeon Keeper fans, this is Uncle Troy. Today we are playing level 20, the last of the single player missions, Heartland, Regicide.
The king has entered your realm.
And it is our job to somehow breach the defenses and attack and kill the king himself so that we can get the final portal gem and make our way into the overland. Or, well, we would have made our way into the overworld had they ever created the sequel to this game, Dungeon Keeper 3. Since they didn't, we just have bragging rights that we won the game. Now, you want to start off just the standard things, you know, build yourself a little starter dungeon. But you also want to go off in different directions here and create some long, narrow pathways. And you may say, why? And the secret is that if there are existing pathways, the hero attacks will probably come down those pathways. They won't dig into odd parts of your dungeon and take over. Instead,
you need a treasury to store gold.
Instead, you can control what part of the dungeon they attack in. For example, most of these attack forces seem to be led by a simple dwarf. And you may say, well, why would they send a dwarf out front? Well, because dwarves can dig through stone.
A new species of creature has entered your dungeon.
And that dwarf would have dug a direct path to the dungeon heart had they not encountered an already claimed path that they could take along. This first attack is the hardest one to weather because I hadn't built a lot of rooms yet. I was still just kind of, you know, fiddling around, and as such I don't have a lot of creatures with which to fight this attack. And then it doesn't help when you suddenly have little fits and starts in the game where suddenly it just decides to freeze up on you for a few minutes. I think this has something to do with maybe the new version of Fraps I'm using, or perhaps the new video drivers I'm using. I had a motherboard problem and had to reinstall some drivers. But the funny thing is, after a few seconds, it's back to normal. Of course, I'm not sure what exactly happened during the blackout time there, but I think we're okay. And I'll probably edit out any future ones of those just so you don't have to sit through them like I did. But that was darn scary.
A new species of creature has entered your dungeon.
But once you survive the first attack, then it's simply a matter of converting the heroes. And then if you're smart, if you're fast, if you keep converting the heroes you capture, you will always have enough to weather future attacks. And then you can pretty much take your time in getting up to King Reginald.
You have claimed a mana vault. You have taken over an enemy room.
There is a mana vault and a hero gate right up here.
You have successfully converted an enemy creature in the torture chamber.
There is also one additional mana vault
A mistress has become unhappy because she has no lair.
And I'll show you where that other mana vault is here in a minute. It's right next to the only secret spell in this land.
You have my allegiance, Keeper. Don't abuse it.
Remember how I said if you dig enough pathways, the dwarves won't dig their own entrances?
Your dungeon has been breached.
Well, maybe I was wrong.
Your lair is under attack. You have successfully converted an enemy creature in the torture chamber. Your minions need a larger training room.
As you can see, I'm not doing much more than weathering hero attacks and then converting the heroes and putting up with the occasional freeze here. I really wish I knew what was causing that. Much like level 10 Smash in the Land of Woodsong, there are hero gates around the perimeter, and if you take those out, you have less to worry about when the final attack comes.
Your Sight of Evil spell has been upgraded. You have successfully interrogated an enemy creature in the torture chamber. Map information has been divulged by the victim in the torture chamber. Well done. You've sacked the staging post, and thus have blocked this way for heroes to traverse. You've taken over an enemy room.
And if I remember correctly, the only secret and another mana vault is right there where I was digging. Of course, we also have another portal right up here. I believe we only have 3 portals in this whole land. And we have another guard post and hero gate right up here. I was re-watching this and realized I'd never actually shown where the secret was and where the other mana vault was.
A mistress has become unhappy because she has no lair. Ah, I see you have discovered a magical item. You have claimed a mana vault.
It takes a while to dig out these walls around these hero gates. Sometimes it's worth it to use the tremor spell to weaken the reinforcements on the walls, but or just keep putting more and more imps on the job.
Well done. You've sacked the staging post, and thus have blocked this way for heroes to traverse. You've taken over an enemy room.
Oh, I tend to put a training room and a guard post right here, sometimes some traps. Helps the creatures.
Your minions need a larger training room.
It helps my creatures to fight off the invasions if they're already right there training anyway.
Well done. You've sacked the staging post, and thus have blocked this way for heroes to traverse.
The final hero gate is up in this corner, and it's also near this that you will find a gem seam on the other side of a sea of lava, which means you need a stone bridge to cross it. So make sure you don't run completely out of money before you get to this point.
A knight has become unhappy because he has no food.
Otherwise, you won't be able to make the stone bridge up here to this area.
Well done. You've sacked the staging post, and thus have blocked this way for heroes to traverse. You have taken over an enemy treasury. You have taken over an enemy room.
This area is guarded by giants, and if you can, you want to capture them rather than kill them, because they'll come in handy later.
Your guard room is too small.
And once the giants are out of the way, it's just a simple matter of setting your imps to mining this gem seam and turning this whole little area up here into one big treasury. With that gem seam going full blast, you shouldn't have to worry about money too much. And with a temple set up with all your magic users worshipping at it, you shouldn't have to worry too much about mana. Oh, and converted heroes produce extra mana, so it's worth it having them worship at the temple too. Oh, remember when I said that the giants might be handy? Up here we've got several sentry traps placed out amongst lava, and the easiest way to handle them is to set a group of giants on them. We also have a few salamanders, but not many, and the giants can take out traps much faster.
You have taken over an enemy bridge.
Cursed be forever, evil forces! You will not pass forth into the upper realm!
A giant has become unhappy because he has no lair. You have successfully converted an enemy creature in the torture chamber.
Now, it is not absolutely necessary to set up a huge gauntlet of traps to kill the invading heroes, but it sure is fun.
Your minions need a larger training room. A knight has become unhappy because he has no food. Your guard room is too small.
At this point in the game, my own creatures are, in general, less powerful than the heroes I've been converting. So if I'm just sending, trying to get rid of a bunch of traps and whatnot, don't want to babysit the creatures, don't care if one of them dies or not, then I send out my own creatures to do it.
You have taken over an enemy bridge.
Alright, we've now reached the end game, more or less. We've reached the point where it's time to take on King Reginald himself. King Reginald is a pretty good fighter. He hits for a lot of damage and has a lot of hit points. It takes forever to wear him down. Decided to start off by just teasing him with some imps and bringing him into an area where he could get hit by a few traps. As you can see, they're not doing a whole lot of damage, and he's surrounded by other high-level heroes. So it takes a while to wear them down. See the difference there between a level 5 wizard and a level 9 royal guard. Level 5 wizard gets taken down by the fireburst trap. The guard barely gets knocked down one notch on his health bar. Chicken coops are a good diversion because sometimes the heroes will stop and actually chase down chickens instead of your minions.
Your minions need a larger training room.
And also, chicken hatcheries are pretty cheap to build. So if you want to build a structure that heroes will take a while to destroy without costing a lot of money, again, chickens are a good bet. Once again, I'm just throwing away some of my own creatures here to kind of wear down King Reginald. I seriously don't expect him to do much damage. As you can see, my sentry traps aren't doing much damage. But like I said, right now I'm just playing with them. Now, since I have 200,000 mana, what I should do right now is summon the Reaper, have him take out Reginald and his retainers, and then perhaps just wait a few minutes to rebuild the mana and then summon the Horned Reaper again to take out, well, you'll see who needs to be taken out next. But like I said, right now I'm just kind of playing with King Reginald here. Okay, now that most of my own creatures are dead, destroyed, running, fleeing in terror, now we'll see what these converted creatures can do. Most of them are a higher level than my own creatures, and knights are pretty tough, guards a little less so. but even they won't stand much a chance against Reginald here. But maybe if I can pile enough on them quickly enough, they can take out Reginald and his retainers here.
You may have beaten me, but my final line of guardians will see you perish yet.
The Stone Knights are the last defenders of the gateway. There's no force within this realm to beat them. Are we doomed? Or is there yet another way? A knight has become unhappy because he has no food.
The Stone Knights are what I was referring to earlier. The Stone Knights can take pretty much any amount of punishment. I have never been able to wear one down with any number of traps or enemy creatures to take them all the way down to nothing. They just seem to get down to one little health flower and then just stay there indefinitely, unless you have one certain way of attacking, which would be the Horned Reaper. Now the problem is, Mr. Horned Reaper is mercurial. Is that a word? Yeah, mercurial. He kind of attacks who he wants to attack when he wants to attack. So even though he's right here next to the Stone Knights, does he take off after the Stone Knights? No. Instead, he wanders down here to attack some guards that are way off to the side. I don't know if they were technically closer than the Knights at the time. But he goes off here to do some other stuff that we don't need him to do, and burns up a lot of mana. Of course, we could slap him to dispel him at any time, and we end up doing that, but it just irks me that I was all ready to finish the game there, and instead he goes off to fight some guards over here. If you kill enough time, a group of level 10 heroes will come out and attack you. They come from the same hero gate where the Stone Knights are hanging out, so there's no way to go in and take out
the gods have accepted your
the hero gate. As you can see, they make short work of most traps. However, if you drop a whole lot of creatures in there with them, a big line of traps can hold them off indefinitely.
Your hatchery is under attack.
And eventually your creatures and the traps will wear down the heroes, even though they are level 10. And then you can drag them back to the torture chamber. The torture chamber will take quite a while to convert the level 10 heroes. In fact, you may have to put up with another assault similar to this before they are. But once you do have a group of level 10 heroes converted, then it's simply a matter of putting them in the path of the next group of attacking heroes, and they pretty much take care of the problem. And then if all your characters, all your creatures, especially the magic user ones or the converted magic user ones, are worshipping at the temple, you'll have plenty of mana and can fire those traps indefinitely. And as long as your imps are constantly mining more gold, you should have plenty of gold. Now, eventually you can get so many level 10 creatures that you don't have enough gold to pay them, because level 10 creatures are very expensive. As you can see here, the heroes did stop to kill chickens and knock out the hatchery. So, that slowed them down. And now we have all sorts of level 10 creatures to convert. And using this method, you can stay in this last level for hours and just get tons and tons of points and hit the high scoreboard real easy. But that's not really why we're here. We're here to win the game. So let me show you how that happens.
Keeper, if Horny becomes too much for you to handle, a single slap will expel him from your domain.
This time I was a little more careful where I cast the Horned Reaper spell. Made sure I was right here next to the entrance to this little hero gate, so that the Horned Reaper could come out here and smack these Stone Knights in the powder. Poof. As you can see, he makes pretty short work of them. taking him down half a notch at a time. And once again, even though he's standing right there, he disappears so that he can make a dramatic entrance back here. And that is how we take out the Stone Knights. That is how you win level 20. And that is how the Horned Reaper skates around like he's on roller skates. But here is the very last portal gem. With it, we can enter the overworld and go on to Dungeon Keeper 3. Well, if Dungeon Keeper 3 had ever been made, this would be the sequel hook here. This would be the jumping off point to the third game, which, as I said, unfortunately never happened. Not sure what that was. Okay, for some reason the opening and closing cinematics do not record, but take my word for it, this is pretty darn cool. What happens is the Horned Reaper, he walks up to the portal to the overworld, he places the last portal gem in position, and the portal starts opening. A whole lot of unnecessary mechanisms and Rube Goldberg devices. However, the mechanisms also reanimate 2 Stone Knights. And I don't know if these are 2 additional Stone Knights or if these are supposed to be a fancier version of the same battle that the Horned Reaper just fought there at the end of that level. But like in the level we just saw, the Horned Reaper makes quick work of the 2 Stone Knights, knocks them into dust, and then he has unrestricted access to the portal. And so once he does, he walks into the portal. It's real bright, shiny, awe-inspiring, and then supposedly he goes off into the overworld to where we start playing Dungeon Keeper 3, had, as I say, the game ever actually had been made. And as you can see here, we did a pretty good job. 835,328 points is our evil rating for this land. I'm not really sure if that's good or bad, actually. But here are the statistics again, which I never really pay much attention to. And the only reason I pay any attention to this screen here is that I like seeing my name in games. So there it is. Alrighty, that is all 20 lands of the single-player game. There are a few more lands to go, bonus lands. I never really played them much, so I'm not really sure if I'm going to include them or not. All I can say is tune back later and see if I've posted any more Dungeon Keeper 2 videos. In the meantime, this is Uncle Troy signing off. Please have a good night.